Why is it that spiritual people struggle to manifest money? That little email is where it all began. You're going to love the adventure we take today. My name is Mr. 2020, and you are listening to the Neville Goddard Podcast. Today is Tuesday, August 15th. It is 8:13 a.m. The sun is rising in the sky. I can see the sunshine in the treetops, and I just love it. The birds have sung their bird song of Thanksgiving, and it is a beautiful day here in Eltham, Australia. Let's dive in. Ready? Why is it that spiritual people struggle with money? That's where it all began. A little tiny email which led to, I'm going to change the name, Janice joining us in ManifestingMasteryCourse.com, and then Janice and I doing a one-on-one, which was just great fun, because here's one of the things that we explored. About 70% of the time when spiritual people are struggling to manifest money, about 70% of the time they're imagining something that they don't know they're imagining about money. They just don't notice what they're really imagining about money, about people with money, about them with money. There's some imagining going on that just remains invisible to them. And that's about 70% of the time. And when we bump into that on a call, it's surprising, it's shocking, it's fascinating how the giggles show up and the shifts just happen. So you get to notice, what are you really imagining about you? About you and money, about people who have money. There's some subtleties here. And I'll give you a hint. I often find out about this by trolling people's Facebook pages and stuff, just for fun. But it really shows up. It showed up on Janice's live call in a way that neither one of us expected. So play with this. So that's 70%. 20% of the time, people got that all together. But they're just not using the tools right. Maybe they're imagining the wish instead of the wish fulfilled. Maybe they're imagining up the middle instead of what implies their actual wishes fulfilled. Maybe they're making it about the economy or something. They're just disturbed by there's a splinter in their mind's eye instead of clarity. There's something like that. And we just get to notice, hey, cool. Here are some other ways that you might want to use the tools. For some people, different tools work differently. But about 20% of the time, they're just not using the tools correctly or effectively. 10% of the time, it's both. And when we nail that, it's suddenly fascinating how much more fun this whole manifesting adventure is. Instead of it being like a second job, for a lot of people, they struggle. And it's like a second job. It's like, I make this much money on my job. I want to make more money, and so they make manifesting like their second job. They just struggle with it because they're not using the tools right. And they're also imagining something that just is really working against them. So this is why spiritual people sometimes struggle with money. And you'll notice I inserted that sometimes in there because in the initial email is, why do spiritual people struggle with money? And this might be one of the ultimates right here, because spiritual people don't struggle with money. Some spiritual people do. Some worldly people struggle with it too. But when you generalize to why do spiritual people struggle with money, suddenly you put yourself in a group because, I'm a spiritual person, and spiritual people struggle with money. Yet we just exposed a tiny little imagining that makes all the difference. And that there is probably one of the most common ones that we notice that people have. It's a big rock in a lot of people's streams. So, if you want to dive deeper, if you want to soar higher, if you want to invest in you and support the project, NevilleGoddardStore.com. You can join Manifesting Mastery there. Janice ended up getting Money Now as well. That's a really cool one. Has some live call recordings and some really cool shit. That's Money Now, and you can get that too at NevilleGoddardStore.com. All right, Janice, thank you for taking an adventure with me, for signing up for Manifesting Mastery course, for asking if we could do a live call. I treasure these, as you know. It's all about family, the Feel It Real family. And now, what I want you to do is to imagine smiles, something lovely, as we go into the silence. If you want to dive deeper, if you want to soar higher, you know what to do. Have a lovely day. And thank you for reaching out. God, that sun is just getting brighter and brighter up on the hillside there. Have a lovely day. See ya.